Welcome to the first video in our series on statics. For those of you who don't know me, which is probably all of you, my name is Daniel and I'll be your tutor for statics. I'm a mechanical engineer with a passion for helping students understand engineering concepts. I thought that I would begin with a class in statics as it is usually the first mechanical engineering course that you will take at university. The course will have a mixture of brief concept videos and detailed problem-solving videos. The concept videos will highlight some of the important topics in the course. However, my focus will be on the problem-solving videos as it is my goal to teach you tips on how to approach and think through solving statics problems. I will be posting videos on a weekly basis. Now that introductions are out of the way, let's start with a quick overview of the topics that I will cover throughout this series. We will begin by looking at vector operations. Then, we will look at bodies that can be treated as a particle. After that, we will cover forces that want to cause a rotation, namely moments. This ties directly into the study of rigid bodies, our next topic. Then we will cover truss analysis, which is one of the more applied topics of the series. We will also briefly look at internal forces, even though it is covered in much more depth in a mechanics of materials or strength of materials course. Another important topic we will cover is friction. We will conclude the series with some topics that are foundational for dynamics. Not that the rest of this isn't. But we will look at center of gravity, centroid, and center of mass, in addition to the moments of inertia and area. Now that this is out of the way, let's take a brief look at what statics is. Statics falls under the branch of physics called mechanics. This includes fluid mechanics, how fluids behave, deformable body mechanics, which takes the material properties into account. This will be covered in a mechanics of materials class. And then we have rigid body mechanics, where we will spend our time. This neglects the material properties and assumes that all of the bodies do not deform. Statics and dynamics fall into this category. Dynamics deals with forces that cause acceleration. Statics, on the other hand, deals with bodies where the external forces are balanced, causing the body to have zero acceleration. So it's either at rest or moving at a constant velocity. And the key word here is equilibrium. Finally, I wanted to briefly go over Newton's laws of motion as they are fundamental to what we will be learning. Newton's first law states that an object will remain at rest or in uniform motion unless acted on by an external force. The key phrase here is that no net force equals no change. This is very fundamental for statics and is the basis for what we will be studying. We will mostly be looking at the equations. The sum of the forces in a certain direction equals 0. It is contrasted by Newton's second law, which states that the sum of the forces equals mass times the acceleration. This is true for constant mass and will be covered in dynamics. Newton's third law states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This will be covered in a later video as reaction forces are very prevalent throughout both statics and dynamics. I'm sure that most of you have seen these before, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I did want to provide a brief overview before we jump into vectors in our first real lesson next time. I will try to keep each of these videos as concise as possible. As I said before, I won't be going over every detail in every concept video, otherwise we will be here for an entire lecture period. However, I'm trying to recap and explain the key concepts so that we have a reference frame for problem solving. Your lectures are where you should be getting the meat of the content. I want to devote the majority of my videos to detailed problem solving as I think this will be the most beneficial. I'm really excited to be your tutor for this class and to make my first YouTube series. Be sure to subscribe so that you can see when I post new content, and be sure to leave a comment letting me know what content you are hoping to see in this series. See you in the next video where we will take a look at vectors and vector operations.